And this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And today, I just want to talk about powerlessness and step one. So, step one in the 12 steps is, well, all about powerlessness. Step one is admitting to ourselves that we were powerless over our drug of choice, substance of choice, people of choice, whatever it may be. Whatever the thing is that we are powerless over is admitting it to ourselves, and that is step one. And that can be the hardest step to take sometimes. But, anyways, let me rewind just a little bit. So, if you're new to the podcast, Retrieving Sanity is all about mental health. We're trying to end the stigma on mental health, end the stigma on addiction, things like that. And really, it's coming together slowly but surely. We're starting to get experts and authors in the mental health field and people that just have experiences with mental health themselves and different life situations and things like that. So, if you want to be on the show, if you want to share your story or anything like that, find me at retrievingsanity.com. You can also email me at keegan.reed, R-E-E-D, at retrievingsanity.com. So, with that, let's continue on with step one, shall we? So, step one, powerlessness. Big, tall order, right? I don't want to admit that I'm powerless over anything because admitting that I'm powerless over anything means that I don't have power over it. It has power over me. And that's scary. But the thing with it is that it also gives me power to admit that I am powerless over it. Now, if that doesn't make sense, it's kind of like this. If we're playing a game, say soccer or football, if you're over there and across the pond, but if we're playing that game, we have a set of rules to follow. And within those rules are the things that we can and can't do. And so we can play the game to our fullest extent within those rules. And finding out that I'm powerless over alcohol and other substances and stuff, it gives me that power to say, okay, well, this is my new boundaries. This is my new limits. This is my new stuff that I can't cross because it's bad news for me on the other side. So, with that, step one is not just admitting to oneself that there is a problem. Step one is about admitting it and then choosing to do something about it. I say this because myself personally, I did step one halfway for a long time. And by that, what I mean is for a while, I knew that I was going to die from alcoholism, either from drinking or trying to quit. Because by the time that I realized that I was in a little too far over my head, I had researched stuff and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this cold turkey and no one's going to stop me. I'm going to do it. I was wrong. Well, I kind of was and wasn't. Let me explain. So, with alcohol, if you're a hardcore user with it, if you drink every day, this, that, or another, and it's over an extended period of time, your body literally gets used to it. Now, for example, whenever an alcoholic is far enough in their addiction, they don't have to eat because, or very little at least, because I could get my caloric intake from alcohol and that was all I needed. So, whenever I stopped taking the alcohol, my body would start to go into withdrawal. And it could happen as soon as a couple of hours after my last drink. So it was pretty rough. But with that, I knew that things were getting out of hand. They were getting out of control. I was losing a job left and right. I was choosing to not stay at jobs left and right. I was choosing to cut ties with people, uh, either on accident or on purpose, or just because I was deep in my crap and forgot to talk to people because I was so isolating with myself. But um, with that, uh, I decided one day that I was tired of it, and I looked it up. I was like, "What do I do if I want to quit drinking alcohol and stuff?" And I was like, "What are the side effects of quitting cold turkey? This, that, and other." And of course, in my research, I found that quitting cold turkey can give someone delirium tremens. which is fatal or can be. And in my case, it almost was, or partially was. So, anyways, I'm sitting there and I remember being on my laptop and reading that and just kind of start shaking a little bit and closing the lid and just like, well, I'm kind of stuck in this cycle. Do I keep drinking and try to moderate it, or do I quit cold turkey and possibly die? And the thing was, I wasn't willing to accept anyone else's help. I wasn't willing to say, I need help. I have no power over this. I can't do anything. I can't do it. I didn't do that. And so my step one was half assed because I sat there and I said, I can't do anything. I'm stuck. So I'm going to try to moderate my drinking, try to make myself live as long as possible, and go from there. But what actually ended up happening was that trying to moderate drinking aspect did not go as according to plan. And I ended up drinking even more and more and more. And eventually, uh, whenever I did try to get help, I got a medically assisted detox. And that's whenever my liver started to shut down on me. I'm pretty sure I died and came back. Or if not, I was on the other side. Um, but that was a. Whew. So I was halfway in my step one for about 3.5, 4 years, I'd say, maybe five. And man, step one, it sucks because no matter what, step one can be done with anything. And whenever I say that, it like this, the phone, I can be powerless over my phone if I'm addicted to it, if I'm addicted to the social medias, if I'm addicted to text messaging, if I'm addicted to this, that, or another. Like, if you don't think you're addicted to your phone, try putting it down for a day and not touching it whatsoever. Nowadays, it's almost impossible not to because we live in a society where everything is just so gotta do it now, 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 instantly connected, this, that, and another, and it gets so tiring and stuff. But if you had a day to not have any obligations to anyone and set it down, you'd probably have the urge to pick it up and check it a lot of times. And you'd probably say, oh, it's out of habit, out of compulsion. Guess what? That's the first start of an addiction, if not a definition of addiction. So an addiction can be a habit or compulsion that can be, well, self-destructive and, well, just not benefiting you in any way whatsoever. So admitting that you're powerless over that thing sucks because we want to say, I got this. I want to say, I got this. I want to say, no matter what, I'm going to come out on top. I don't need anyone's help. And part of that comes from childhood wounds. It comes from being a perfectionist, being independent as much as I can be, being hard headed, and just, I mean, not wanting to accept help, not wanting to accept that I need help. And in the end, if it wasn't for everyone else around me, I wouldn't be here today. Long story short, that's just the way it goes. If it weren't for everyone here, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, you. You may be new, you may be a stranger, you may not know me, but guess what? Because of you, somehow, one way or another, you did something that caused some cascading ripple effect that caused some weird event in my life that I don't even know about, and here we are. So thanks for watching. But I am going to keep this one short. I know that with the radio episodes, we're sitting there at like an hour long episodes, and sometimes those are like cool, awesome people, cool stories, or things like that. And then sometimes it's like, man, I just want a quick little dive into like topic. And so I'm going to keep this one short. I'm going to keep it to about 15 minutes. We're sitting at about 9:40 at the moment, so here we go. Um, and with this, here's a great example of an everyday situation that I can take with step one. My wife got sick with the flu. She's never had the flu, believe it or not. She's never had the flu, and she got it pretty bad. She couldn't really walk. She couldn't eat for several days, and man, she she had it rough. So I'm sitting here trying to take care of her. This is the first time she's been this sick with me. This is the first time she's had the flu, so she doesn't know what to expect. So the both of us are kind of powerless over the situation because she can't do a whole lot about not being sick, and then I can't do a whole lot about making her not sick. All we can do is really symptom management, and even that was kind of just putting out a blazing forest fire. But we're able to get through it one day at a time, one moment at a time. But I had to sit there and realize that I was having these expectations of if I were sick, then this is how I'd be handling it. This is what I would do. This is how I'd be feeling, so on and so forth. And I was projecting that on and that just doesn't make for a good caretaker. So whenever I caught myself doing that, I had to say, okay, well, there's a power out there that can help me take care of this, and that happens to be my higher power, and it also happens to be ask her and listen to what she needs you to do. So that's what I can do. My step two is saying, hey, there are things that can help me out in this situation. What is it? And then step three would, of course, be in saying, all right, I'm going to do whatever it is that whatever is going to tell me to do. But step one is admitting and realizing that there is something that needs to be addressed and changed. So it can be difficult, it can be tiresome, it can be all sorts of nasty work getting to admit to oneself that there's no power somewhere over something, but it's doable. It's not as scary as you think. Once you get on the other side of it, once you get to that realization that there is still something I can do, let me figure out what it is I can do. Let me stay in the solution. Once you get there, you'll find that there's a lot more room for possibilities. There's a lot more avenues for escape, if you will. There's a lot more just aspects of life within that realm that maybe you were overlooking because you were so focused on that one thing instead of taking those blinders off and seeing what's around. And again, that doesn't have to be an addiction or anything. It can be a habit, it can be a compulsion. But sometimes we need to sit there and take a step back and say, where does this benefit me? Does it benefit me well enough to keep doing this in the long term? Is this something short term? And is this something that once I start, I can stop? Because if the answer is no, I don't have power over it. That's just the way it goes. So, oh, 13 minutes, perfect. And with this being said, I just want everyone to check out startday1.org and go over to Podcast for Prevention and check out the Sanity Seekers. Check out my team. We're trying to raise money for the Mennonite and Maya. Try to send those guys on a field trip. Don't know where, don't know when, but once we get money for it, we're going to send them and they're going to have a fun time somewhere. And also, I'm going to try and start streaming or at least recording, doing funny game clips and stuff. So I haven't decided a channel name for that, but if you come up with one, let me know. Um, but yeah, I'm going to leave this one just a tad short of 15 minutes. But I want to leave everyone with this. You are loved. You are important. You are valid. You're heard. I see you. I love you. So keep on coming back. I love you. And we'll see you next week. Sean.